AEW Dynamite was last night. You can check out our review on the channel. Put the link up on the screen right now. It was the third straight week that they run unopposed from NXT on Wednesday nights, and for 2 weeks straight, they popped over 1 million viewers. This week, not so much. AEW Dynamite viewership drops big time this week in our first story here on the Wrestling News and Rumor Mill. So we have here AEW Dynamite continue the build for Blood and Guts this week. Let's see how the viewership turned out, for Dynamite without any NXT competition. Showbuzz reports that AEW Dynamite averaged 889,000 overnight viewers with a .33 in the 28 to 49 demo. They brought in an overnight average of 1.1 million viewers last week. They scored a .37 in the 18 to 49 demographic. The week prior brought in 1.219 million overnight viewers. They also captured a .44 in the 18 to 49 demographic. This is an incredible jump from the previous week. The previous week, Dynamite pulled 688 viewers, and NXT brought in 768 viewers for the night one of the NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver, and that was the final week head-to-head. The two shows went on air. So you see the drop in viewership for the third straight week. This could be maybe just the build that AEW's been doing. Maybe everybody just there was something else on TV last night. I don't know. There's not really too much to go by on this, but the viewership has gone down from that first week after NXT left. It was high, dropped down just a little bit the next following week, and now it's sub 1 million. So could this be a trend going forward? Maybe those that were split between the two shows just haven't been a fan of the way AEW's kind of booked themselves. I haven't either, other than the Blood and Guts stuff. It's been the only good stuff on the show. For me, my biggest issue is they have too many guys on the roster. The whole faction warfare is throughout the entire show. There's faction after faction after faction. And the whole Forbidden Door working with TNA Impact really isn't all that to talk about. You didn't even have a clip of the actual Kenny Omega winning those titles at Rebellion, nothing like that. It was a pre-tape show, so maybe that has something to do with it, but at least splice in a clip or something there of him winning. So viewership drops, for the second weeks in a row, and then this week it's under 1 million. Let's see how they rebound. I'm assuming next week, the Blood and Guts match, it's going to pop over 1 million again because it's a big match. Everybody wants to see the Pinnacle. Everybody wants to see the versus the Inner Circle inside that cage, how it's going to look, how it's going to differ from the War Games that we've seen in NXT the past few years since they brought War Games back. So it's a big thing. They'll pop 1 million after that, but we'll see the week after that, following after Blood and Guts, how that performs. So that's the big benchmark right there. Blood and Guts is going to pop a big rating the next week after that, and the weeks after that, we'll see how AEW Dynamite performs unopposed. Next story, Tony Khan talks AEW Dynamite ratings increasing and Kenny Omega winning the Impact World title. He appeared, Tony Khan, on Busted Open Radio, reflected on the success AEW has had since going unopposed Wednesday just a few weeks ago. He says, it's been awesome. It's been a great few weeks for us. The show has been really strong, and I think the most important thing is the shows are good. If we were doing good numbers and the show quality was not high, then I think it would eventually catch up with us. All right? Remember, the story we just covered, they just dropped for this third week. So there's some credence there to that. The show quality hasn't been that great in my opinion, so I just think that may be part of it, but I'm really glad because I think the shows have been really strong, the numbers have been good, so that's the best of both worlds. Khan would also go on to discuss Kenny Omega winning that Impact Championship at the Rebellion pay-per-view. While AEW remains Omega's first priority, Khan believes that there will be no issues with Omega defending the Impact, AEW, and AAA world titles all at once. You have to remember that Kenny has experience doing this. He was the AAA champion also. He was Triple Mania and defended that title. He had a great match with Laredo Kid. He's done that, so I think there's a precedent for it that can burn the candle at both ends. There was a point a year ago where Kenny and Hangman were tag team champions, and he was making defenses in Mexico, and he had wrestled Phoenix in Mexico, and they had a great match. So I do think that he's shown he can do it, that he can fight a battle on two fronts. Now he can fight a battle on three fronts. Their priority is going to be AEW. He's the world champion. To me, it's the most prestigious title in the world. Now he's going to have to go to other companies and become the champion. It's great. It reminds me of when I was a kid and Vader held titles on 3 continents. That was really cool. And now you have Kenny Omega, who's the champion in 3 different companies with 4 belts, and there could be more to come. I think it's awesome. He had a great match with Rich Swann. Rich is great. Okay, fine and dandy. Yeah. I could definitely see him, having no issues going from show to show. These other shows, now Impact is weekly, so he doesn't have to show up weekly. AAA, he probably just show up on the big events, defend that title in the big events, and that's it. I don't think it'd be much of an issue for him to do all this. If he gets more titles, they're going to be smaller companies. Unless he goes out and wins the IWGP Championship, but I don't think he will, from Will Ospreay or whoever has it. I don't think that'll happen. But we'll see what happens going forward. Again, they have no really mention on the show of Impact whatsoever for the most part. They didn't show a clip of him winning at Rebellion. He didn't have the titles, even though it was a pre-tape, so it could happen before he actually won the titles. They taped the show. Just, there's some things there where it's like they don't feel like it's their first priority or they really care. So that's why I think Kenny will be fine. AEW is his number one priority. AEW is going to put over everything else. Everything else is going to be secondary. And AEW shows that with the way they promote it. They don't do the greatest job promoting everything else that he has. You wouldn't even know he had the AAA championship. You've seen it like maybe one time on AEW. So really, there's not much there. It's not a huge thing to go into. The whole forbidden door they have going on, it's not really working all that great. It's kind of just a side piece, and you just kind of don't even, if you weren't paying attention to it, you wouldn't even know what's really going on, to be honest with you. So it's just the way they tend to book it. So I think he'll be fine and doing what he's doing. We'll see if he collects more belts, and that whole belt collector, the collector gimmick that he has going on, continues, and what other belts he can grab. But in terms of the ratings, we just read, they dropped. So like I said, they'll get a bump for Blood and Guts, and then we'll see what goes on after that. Next story, yesterday we were talking about Jason Jordan being promoted, Adam Pearce being promoted, and a referee being promoted as well. WWE promotes Adam Pearce to new director of live events. WWE is prepping to hit the road once again, and it seems they're getting a staff prepared to get the ball rolling. Adam Pearce will head up a team responsible for those live events. According to PW Insider, Adam Pearce was given the title of Director of Live Events. He has been moved up in terms of responsibility behind the scenes. Pearce also appears on screen as WWE official, and he's a producer for the company. This new role will give the 5-time NWA champion even more influence behind the scenes. As Ringside News reported, Vince McMahon likes Adam Pearce because he is credible. He brings a new approach to the on-screen authority character as well. This dedication also helped him along backstage, and he's obviously impressed with his work. PW Insider's report came out after it reported that news had gotten out about his promotion within the company yet. Obviously, it made his way around by the afternoon. So he's getting a big push right now. So a big promotion. Director of all live events. He's going to oversee this massive undertaking of getting the company rolling again in those live events and having fans out there. So it's going to be a big job ahead for Adam Pearce. This is why I think Sonya Deville will probably take his job off of TV, or not completely, but at least take majority of it. And some type of her trying to screw him over out of the job, something like that, because he's going to be taking on this role, and he needs to give his straight up all his attention to this right here. Live events, get that ball rolling, and then once it's kind of doing it, basically working on its own, he could maybe come back to the fold a little bit more on TV. But I think that's the way they'll work it. It's a massive undertaking again for him to take on all these live events, especially now since it's just starting to get back to live events. When they do, they're testing it out. I just think it's going to be a big undertaking for him. So all his time's going to be consumed there. They're going to have Sonya Deville kind of take his spot a little bit on TV. That's my prediction for that. Next thing, big story. Road Dogg returns to WWE NXT this week after his heart attack. Road Dogg suffered a heart attack a few weeks ago, but that health scare didn't keep him out of work for long. He obviously wanted to get back as soon as he could, and that's just what happened. According to PW Insider, Road Dogg returned to work at NXT this week. He was behind the scenes just as usual. There's no word on if his duties were any different, but it's not likely much has changed. WWE Hall of Famer and NXT producer Brian Road Dogg James returned to his position behind the scenes at this week's NXT taping. So great to hear that he's back at work. It didn't sideline him too long. Whatever health issues he has, hopefully he resolves all that and gets healthier and doesn't have another heart attack like this, or even worse. So shout out to Road Dogg for making his return. Hopefully he can get his health in order and be okay and continue on the job that he's doing in NXT, because everybody at NXT is doing a bang up job right now. For the most part, doing really well. Really enjoy what they're showing out in NXT. So shout out to Road Dogg for becoming healthy, getting over this heart attack, coming back to work. Hopefully he's healthy for the foreseeable future. Next story here is a kind of a funny one. Okay, so WWE confirms Braun Strowman set a new record on Raw. It's the weirdest record that you would have thought somebody would have had already. After reviewing nearly 1,000 records, our data shows that this Monday on WWE Raw, Braun Strowman became the first superstar in the history of WWE, WCW, ECW to compete in televised singles, tag team, and handicap matches all on the same night. So he had the beginning match where it was him versus T-Bar and Mace handicap match. Then that turned to a tag match after it was a DQ finish, and it was him, Drew McIntyre versus T-Bar and Mace. And then it was Drew McIntyre versus Braun Strowman to see if Strowman wins. He got into that triple threat match, WrestleMania Backlash, which happened. I don't think it's the greatest thing because I don't think the segments were that good. I think they were pretty bad. But I mean, something to hang his hat on, I guess. I don't really think he cares too much. And who the hell knew that he was gonna be the first guy to ever do this on a televised event in those three companies? Pretty remarkable. That's never happened before with the amount of stuff that all these companies have done previously in the past. It's just those three specific matches have not happened with one superstar in one night on TV. So a little interesting fact right there from WWE and Braun Strowman. Pretty much the only thing interesting coming out of Raw right now is maybe just that. Let's get to our last story here, and it's about Mickie James. Remember the trash bag incident? Her and Mark Carrano got fired, all that. Here she talks about ageism and her experience in WWE. All right, so the former 5-time WWE Women's Champion has alleged that ageism is a real thing in WWE and a contributing factor in her recent WWE release. Speaking on GAW TV, Mickie, who's 41 years old, says she was constantly presented as old, even though a lot of the male superstars of her age or older have been glorified for those exact reasons. I think the small-minded mentality sometimes leads to thoughtless behavior, especially for me to constantly be presented as old when I'm 41 and every single male champion has always been the same age or older and has been glorified for those reasons, as they should be. They're effing amazing. But why is it different for women? Or why is it different for me? Ageism is a real thing and it's BS. I'm truly grateful for the strides that we as women have made and to be seen as more equal, but it's simply not true for every single person. Sometimes that's unfortunate. I don't know why I was made to feel like I didn't deserve the same treatment because I did everything in my power to be a company girl, and for some reason I was made to feel like I didn't deserve it. Mickie delved into the various ways she was presented as old by WWE. I feel like I have pretty thick skin and I've put up with a lot of crap. Even through returning to WWE this last time and always being booked in this lackey position or never getting that moment for myself, or if I did, it came at the cost of diapers or a walker or a whole finish to the Asuka fiasco, or just weird things. I felt that at times, just because I was asking for some things, pitching ideas, it would come at a certain price. I'm not saying it was directed from Vince because he's always been respectful to me. Mickie went on to reveal that McMahon called her to apologize about the trash bag incident. He called me on the phone to apologize and let me know that this isn't what he thought of me. I tagged Vince in that tweet because he needs to know, because there's a lot of stuff that happens under his nose that he's completely oblivious to because he's running a multi-billion-dollar company. Mickie also detailed her eye-opening experience at WrestleMania 37 weekend earlier this month. Over the weekend, I was trying to figure out where I'm going to fit in. Anything I've pitched, they weren't into. There was this moment where I said, what if we do an all-female brand? There's different shows we could do within it. And if I could head up that and we have an awesome team of women that we could lean on, we have the talent, tools, and facilities. It could have really helped a lot of girls who are not getting TV time. And as this one person says to me, they're never going to do it, ever. Women's wrestling doesn't really make money. WWE Evolution was the lowest rated pay-per-view ever in WWE history, this person said. I get what you're trying to do, but I don't understand why you're fighting so hard for it. I was told to play the cards I've been dealt and see if there's a way to incorporate that within a different show rather than fight for it to be its own show. That's when I realized, even though they do some amazing things, every decision they make is based on business and how it falls in line with business. I'm just disappointed as a whole with being made to feel old with the pens and a walker and the whole ageism thing. I think we missed out on a lot of moments. So she's saying a lot of stuff here about WWE. Obviously, the trash bag incident, isolated incident in terms of her. Other people have come out and said that that's a behavior, that's a culture in WWE. Yeah, we've heard that a lot from a lot of different sources, a lot of different people about different situations and all that. The ageism thing, it sucks because she is right. Like, a lot of the guys are the same age as her. I think maybe too what plays into it is you've seen her for such a long time. I mean, she's wrestled Trish Stratus, that era that she came up in. It feels like she's been around longer than she is. She's only 41 years old. She's super young. Maybe that plays into why they want to do it, because she comes from that era that was still Trish Stratus was still the top person in the division. So she feels like she's been around a lot longer than she actually has in terms of her age, because she's been around those different generations of superstars. So it feels like she's actually kind of older than she is. She's extremely young, 41. I mean, that in professional wrestling, that's super young. For the men, the women is treated differently, which it shouldn't be, but it is. It's just kind of is what it is. There's something they need to change, but I don't know if they will. The whole thing about her doing a specific show, I don't think that would help. I just think it'll be the same thing if you had an all men show. It would hurt because there's no women on the show and there's no inclusivity. So vice versa, I don't think it would work either. You gotta play it how you have been. I think they've been doing a solid job of it, especially on NXT. It's such a hot and heavy division that when you see it, you're excited to see it. I think just the show completely just surrounded around that wouldn't be as good because there's no inclusivity. There's no different layers to it. You know, when you have both the men and the women division, there's different layers and there's different stories you can tell. So, you know, because if you do a women's, just like the one women's show, then you probably just end up doing a lot of the same storylines you do on the men's show. So it's kind of just keep them all on the same show and make it equal. Like I think it is pretty equal compared to what it was previously as well. I think they're doing a pretty good job of it, especially like I said in NXT. But when in terms of when they say that Evolution was the lowest, you know, pay-per-view that they've ever had, okay, I mean it all comes down to the bottom line in the end, and they're always gonna go towards what benefits the bottom line. That's just the way it works. It sucks, but that's what it is. So, you know, in terms of that, women's wrestling WWE is leaps and bounds better than it was previously, you know, a decade ago. They're doing a really good job. A lot of the women are really showcased really heavily on the show. Charlotte, Rhea Ripley, Asuka, Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, even though what they're doing is not good with the women's tag team titles, they're still on the show every single week, multiple shows back and forth, doing a lot of great stuff. NXT is tremendous in the women's division. It sucks for Mickie that she was treated this way. She's only 41 years old, extremely young, but I think it's just because she seems like she's older than she is because we've seen her for such a long time, and when we first saw her compared to like now, it feels like ages, right? So you would think she's a lot older than she is, but she's only 41, super young. She still has so much to give in the wrestling business. She's probably gonna go to some other company. She would probably go to Impact, have a great run over there, and have a lot of fun and do a lot of great things. Obviously, she had the conversation with Vince because of the whole trash bag thing. He called her and said that he didn't know anything about it. That's not what he expects of her. And obviously, it's a $1 billion company he's running. He can't oversee every little thing. That's why he has management departments that cover all these things like this. So Mickie James, a lot more to give. We'll see her in the future. Maybe she says some more stuff. She opens up the curtain a little bit to WWE and how they treat certain people. It could be that she just had the heat backstage with somebody like a Carano. That's why she was treated that way. That could be also too. It could be a real petty thing from somebody backstage, just like the trash bag incident. So it's a lot to go into. But guys, that is the news and rumors for today. Thursday, April 29, 2021. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Remember to drop a like on this video. Helps a lot with the YouTube algorithm. Hit that chair in the corner for it hits you first, and subscribe to the channel notification bell. You guys learn new videos drop. Stay tuned tomorrow, Friday, 7:30 p.m. Daily news and rumors, and Friday Night SmackDown review after the show. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. If it was working, bro, don't have to do the job.